Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brandon Shank, and welcome to the Brandon Shank Podcast. What's up, Podcastosphere? Spear?
Words.
Podcastosphere. Hey, it's Wednesday, about to be Thursday. What does that mean? It's cookie day.
Mm-hmm.
It's cookie day in the office.
So good.
But you know, today they threw a curveball. I didn't get cookies. Corey got cookies.
I did.
They threw a curveball.
I always get cookies.
They had a question, which I want to pose to y'all. What was the question they made you answer before you get cookies?
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh, the question was, would you rather go without TV for the rest of your life or junk food?
No brainer. TV.
See, I said junk food.
Yeah. I give up TV in a heartbeat. Now, the healthy answer is definitely junk food. Dude, TV all day. I mean, I could not live the rest of my life without. Yeah. Now, junk food, I need my chocolate, bro. I need sweets every now and then.
Don't get me wrong.
It's a tough one.
I love my chocolate too, but I don't know. I just feel like TV, movies. I couldn't go without movies.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It's all junk food, I guess. Well, let's get to the inevitable. It's March Madness.
There we go.
And it's been a rough March for, I would say, just about everybody. Well, I thought just about everybody. So Miami, number 5 seed. San Diego, number 5 seed. San Diego State, excuse me. Florida Atlantic, number 9 seed. And UConn, number 4 seed. Who you got in the championship? Why?
Oh, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't really care at the end of the day. But I've watched Miami play.
For somebody that's 6'7", you would think he would care. He plays guitar like an angel.
I know.
And he's a great athlete.
Yeah.
But this size,
sorry,
could have made millions.
Sorry, sports world. But I've been watching Miami, and I don't know. There's something about them. I just want Miami to win. I watched them, they're just taking people out. And I watched that Texas game, and I was like, okay, Miami.
So let me tell you about Miami. Jim Larrañaga, the coach at Miami, he was the head coach at George Mason University when I went to George Mason in 2001.
Oh, nice.
And George Mason lost to Maryland that year in the tournament. And so he left and went to Miami. I've been a huge fan of his ever since. And so I'm pulling for Miami too.
Nice.
So let's go. Let's podcast, we're all in on Miami.
I know. I'm ready.
We're all in on Miami. Corey's putting both of his cookies on Miami.
I got 3 today because one of them's for my wife. So
all trifecta. So I looked at my bracket. I have 11% correct. It's bad. I was like, okay, well, let me see how I did overall. I'm ranked like 17.9 million. So I was like, well, how many people fill out brackets?
17.9 million.
Said a little over 20 million. I mean, that's bad, bro.
Perfect.
That's bad. I couldn't have. I mean, somebody who is going to win this year, I would guarantee is somebody who picked a bracket that had no idea about college basketball. Because there's no way you could tell me based on your knowledge that you would have picked Miami, San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, and UConn. There's no way that anybody in their right mind, if they have discernment and it's a spiritual gift, do not give credit to your ability to input from what you read on the internet. Because nobody would have picked this. Yeah. Nobody would have picked it. Nobody. So
at least you're not last. Somebody out there is dead last in their bracket.
20.4 million.
Someone had the same thought as you, and they looked it up, and they're like, "That's me. It's me."
If you did the ESPN brackets, send me in what number you are. Mine says 17.9 million because after you get over a certain amount, like you're just around there somewhere. I want to know where y'all are at in your brackets. Send them to us. You can social media it to a social.
Yep. Words.
What's wrong with me, man? We can social media it to us. What email we want them to send it to, man? Social media it. That's where y'all are at.
Social media it.
Social media it.
There you go.
It's another T-shirt.
We'll figure this out.
Another T-shirt. It's Cookie Day. Social media it. Those are T-shirts.
I love it.
Send it to let's see. Send it on my social. You get a hold, or you send it to info@Palms Church Online. Yeah. Just tell them it's for the podcast. They'll get it. They'll get it to us.
There you go.
All right, listen. Life can be brutal. We all can agree with that. Let me tell y'all what's happening to me. So today, I have a bag that I bring into the office that's just like a quick shoulder bag. It's got I put my computer, my iPad in it, my chargers. But then there's days where I got to come, it's like a whole day. I throw my lunch in there. It's like my big old backpack. Yeah. And so I threw my MacBook in there and all my goods, and I threw it on my shoulder, and I was in my kitchen, and my computer went flying out.
Oh.
And it hit our floor, which is tile.
No.
Our kitchen floor.
No.
And it was just loud.
Ugh.
And Casey looked over at her and just looks at me. I said, this is what my life feels like right now.
Yeah.
It's a giant metal computer smashed on the floor. So I was assuming I would, open it up and be all cracked. But here she is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she made it.
Good.
So, I just turned up hip hop really loud on the way to my first meeting today and just jammed out my car. Hey, listen, the Bible says we got to worship. The Bible says worship me. It doesn't say we got to worship too, I said, Lord, I just need you, man. I need a beat and I need you. And, it was just one of those things. We all have that. Y'all know life can be brutal. Yeah. And you just think, I told Casey, and then I was walking out. You guys know my history of anything coffee. I had coffee in my hand, and so I reached to pick something up, and the coffee flew all over my shirt and the floor as I had my backpack on with my MacBook in it that was zipped up that had just fallen out. And I just looked at her and I said, this is just life right now for me. I said, this feels like the chaos of what I call life right now.
That's hilarious.
It isn't for the rest of us.
I don't mean to laugh that hard, but
well, I want to continue with this sob story.
Okay.
I got one more thing for y'all.
Okay.
Y'all know the history. Rylan, my 10-year-old son, sweetest kid, easiest kid I've ever had. As they get older, they all get a little harder, but he's a sweet kid, would put himself to bed when he was little. Like he had bedtime, he wanted to go, never fussed, not once to this day when he was little. Well, Rylan, we forgot him at church one time, probably about 9 months ago.
I feel
we got
you,
to Jimmy John's and we're like, where's Rylan? I don't know, where's Rylan? And we're like, I thought you had him, so I had to go back and get him. It almost happened a second time.
Yeah.
Well, then this week, just after we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, wait a second.
This is Friday night. This Friday night.
Third time?
This Friday night. It was me. We had Pups baseball practice for our travel teams. And so Rylan has it at 5. I had it at 6. Same venue. Same place. Well, I had forgotten that Casey had brought him at 5. That he was there. So we're at the fields, and he goes on another field and plays with a bunch of his friends. Well, a car rolls up of one of the kids' moms, and the two of the kids on our team were in the back seat, and they were yelling at me. They were like, "Hey," they were like saying, "Rylan, we just wanted to," she rolls up and says, "We wanted to make sure you didn't forget Rylan." They wanted to make sure you didn't forget Rylan. And I'm thinking, how do they know this is a problem in my life? They wanted to make sure that I did not forget my son.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, Rylan. I was like, all right, thank you so much. I mean, amazing people. And I was like, it's so sweet of those kids to think of that. And I looked at Caden, I was like, where's Rylan? I was like, did he ride with us? And Caden's like, no, Dad. I was like, well, where is he? He's like, he's here. I was like, how is he here? We just had practice. How's Rylan here? He didn't ride with me. Why is Rylan everywhere? Like, why is Rylan here? And Caden's dad, he had practice at 5. I was like, well, how did he get here? He's like, Mom brought him. I had another moment.
Jeez.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot Rylan again. So I was like, Rylan, you got to come down here, bro. I almost forgot you again. He comes running down with his bag. He's playing with a bunch of his friends up at the field. But I had to have children, amazing children, remind me that my son was still at the ball fields. It's 3 times.
Yeah.
Twice almost forgot him. Once I did. There's got to be something for those who I made it right before I got out. I mean, I didn't forget him.
You know what it reminds me of those sayings where they were like, hey, so you don't forget your kids in the car. It's like, put your phone in the back seat because your phone is more important than your kid. Like, I've always been like, come on now.
I would just not know where to find my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
In my closet, I walk into my closet and I have, like, the way it is, where these shelves are at, I always have a bunch of my shirts and I put my phone there all the time. So when I can't find my phone, the first place I go to is my closet or the bathroom.
Not the shower.
No, not the shower. This is getting even weirder. I can't tell you the amount of people that today I got a phone call about the shower. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Wherever you listen to this,
in the shower.
We're glad to be with you.
Clearly,
we're glad
shower.
that we can be with you and help clear your mind up. You know, get some space. I want to talk about something that's bothering me, but I want to be careful. I want to make sure that these don't turn into complaint sessions. They're not.
Yeah.
These are just things I want us to think of collectively as a society, as a culture. I want us to think collectively about something. Now, growing up, it was a big thing in the 90s to have a system in your car. Speakers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's still a thing. I don't hear them all that much. But when I was growing up, like we had the hydromat in the trunks. I had the 2 JBLs. I mean, it was the thing, right? Bone Thugs and Harmony going in the back. Like, it was the thing. Little DC talk.
Bone Thugs and DC talk.
But we had all this going. Right? And then I would get frustrated because I'm like, why are kids not allowed to be going through neighborhoods with your subs on? Because you don't have that mute button. So anytime a cop rolled up, you hit that mute button as a kid. So you can't roll through a subdivision with your subs on, but yet there's these motorcycles that'll break your ears by being beside them. Yeah. But it wasn't that I got older, I realized, it's because they want to make sure people around them know they're there. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Great law. Glad they can do it. I think they should be, it should be able to shatter your eardrums, let you know there is a motorcycle beside you. Don't run into them. Yeah. I get that. But there's one thing I don't understand, and I don't know that this is a law or it isn't a law, but I know I see enough of it that I don't know how I've never seen somebody pulled over that's doing this. The other day I'm driving down the road, and there's a truck in front of me. And the truck doesn't put a blinker on, but goes over 3 lanes at about 5 miles an hour to get into a turn lane, which I was like, whatever. They were driving a little erratic. I wasn't thinking that they were on the scissor or whatever. I was just thinking there's something wrong. They had 2 dogs on their lap. 2 living creatures sitting on their lap. Now, I just want to know, if this isn't a law, how is it legal for people to drive with pets on their lap? I was driving down the road, and I don't remember if it was an Escalade or what it was. Really nice car. Guy sitting there has a dog sitting on his lap, head out the window, and half of the dog's body was covering his face. And I'm thinking, there is no way that this is safe. I have seen near accidents or super slow drivers that are going to cause an accident because of animals. Now, you may be one of those people who say, man, my dog rides all the time. It's good. I'm not saying anything against this. I'm just wondering, how is there not a law in place to where people are not allowed to drive with animals on their lap? Because we've all seen it.
Yeah.
We've all seen this. Is there a law?
So I'm looking it up right now. Basically, it says, in general, yes, it's perfectly legal to drive with your pet in the car in Virginia. Then it goes on to say, I need to keep reading. However, there are also several nuances you should be aware of in regards to Virginia's laws and transporting companion animals. So I need to keep reading.
What's companion? Is it a friend, or is it somebody that you're, is it just a friend?
Yeah. I mean, can you have like a lizard with you in the front seat, I guess? I don't know.
Iguana on your shoulder?
Boa constrictor.
A parrot. I mean, it's unbelievable. The laws, just sometimes I'm like, how is this legal? There is living things on your lap. How is that not distracting? You can't text and drive, which we all understand why, but everybody does. You know how I know everybody's doing it? Because you sit at stoplights forever, and once they turn green, people are still sitting there. Why? Because they're checking their Facebook. They're looking on Instagram. They're doing something for the TikTok. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. They highly suggest that they should be restrained. But there's no laws against it.
You don't highly suggest my kids should be restrained, right?
Because it does say pets. Like children.
I understand pets like children. I understand you restrain children to protect the kids. I get that. Yeah. But we need to restrain the pets to protect the other people in other cars. Because I have seen very erratic driving. Now, but I will say this. I've also seen some really good driving, and I roll up and see a giant animal in their lap. I'm thinking, that's impressive. They're driving, and they got this giant dog on their lap. It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So you can still get pulled over. It does say in this article, you can still get pulled over if you are erratically driving with a pet in your lap. Yeah. I mean, because you're erratically driving. I just
want to know how nobody in all of the lawmaking of any part of Virginia has sat down and said, you know what, let's just put an end to this. Yeah. Has there not been enough issues because of it? Maybe has there not been any accidents or deaths because of somebody that hit somebody with an animal in their lap? I just am amazed that it's up for debate of whether or not we can have a living animal on our lap in the front of our vehicle while we're driving.
Yeah.
How is that different than texting?
It's a good point.
You have a dog on your steering wheel. I've seen it. I've seen a dog on a steering wheel and they're driving. Yeah. How is that not as distracting as a text message? Well, you're not looking down. Your dog is on your lap.
Yeah. And like hanging out your window and stepping all over you.
I've seen it, dude. I've seen it. I've rolled up and been like, they got a pound in their front seat. They got all these animals.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. I just want to know why. That's just what's bothering me.
It's a good question.
I mean, let the kids play. Let that music blare. You're telling me that's going to cause more of a disturbance than this? Come on. That's all I'm saying. Hey, it's time for You Asked For It.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Oh, man.
Don't blame me. You asked for it.
All right, James. Everybody say, what up, James from VB?
What up, James from VB?
Hey, James from VB. Let's go. Pastor Casey, he said, talked on Sunday. Hey, Casey took it to the house on Sunday. If y'all didn't listen to that message, go back and listen to it.
For sure.
You know? I'm the second best preacher in our house, and I have no problem with that. Pastor Casey talked on Sunday about how I had asked her through a friend to go to a movie. It says, which she declined. Thanks for mentioning that, James. Appreciate it. It says, so what was the movie you were trying to get her to watch? And James says, hey, for him, the DC Defenders are 5-0. So I got a couple of questions with this. First, James, how many girls you asking out? 5-0? I don't want to. I don't know if I want to know the answer to that question. But 5-0 DC Defenders, and you know that movie goes out of the theater, so eventually you just bringing her back to the crib. 5-0. Yeah. I'm saying like that's 5 dates you've gotten in five ladies have said, hey, man, I like this guy for DC Defenders. So I'll tell you this, James, I wasn't that smooth. She didn't even go see the Defenders with me because she wouldn't even go to the movies with me. I don't remember what movie it was. I wouldn't have cared if it was My Little Pony if she would have said yes, I don't know. We didn't watch a movie for the first 5 years that we dated. We did not go to a movie theater for 5 years.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dynamic fella.
That's very impressive.
That's why.
I feel like me and my wife, it was like our second date was a movie.
Well, a lot of people go to the movies. Why? Because you can sit, hang out. You don't have to talk. It kills the awkwardness a little bit.
That's
you
true.
can just spend time.
Yeah.
For us, it was. We were always doing stuff. A lot of activities. And,
activities. We'll just leave it there.
No, I mean, what we did was we were in high school and we would go to, there's a putt-putt place in Centerville. We lived up near DC. We go putt-putt and we go to this place called El Taco. Yeah. Delicious food, but you got about a 25-minute window till you got to.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's delicious though, man. And now it only depends on the day. Some days all right, but it closed down since, which I'm sad to say. I'd go back tomorrow. That place was amazing. It had a unique taste and flavor. If anybody's from Manassas, y'all feel me. But we go putt-putt all the time. We just did stuff. We were very active. So we didn't go to movies for 5 years. And so it was what it was.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Noah, he said, what's your opinion on the war in Ukraine? Well, we went that question.
Yeah,
we went fast to the hard stuff.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if this is an opinion. I'll say this. We know that leaders determine the culture of everything around them, right? There's a war with Russia and Ukraine, and there are bad presidents, bad leaders, mean people, evil people. War is a byproduct of sin. War is a byproduct of people not getting along. This was never God's intention for people to be destroyed, but it was the byproduct of what we've chosen, and it's created war. I mean, that one's the biggest one that we're seeing on the news, but we've seen Desert Storm, and we've seen the Iraqi freedom, and we've seen stuff. So I don't have an apocalyptic picture or an apocalyptic opinion about this is directly related to this or this. Anytime Russia's involved, everybody's like, oh, the big bear in the north is coming down. It's like, we all know the biblical prophecies, but what I know is that it's pain, it's sin, it's hurt, it's turmoil. People say, should U.S. get involved? Those are politics. And for me, that's not my realm. Honestly, I believe Jesus saves. He can fix everything if everybody would submit to him, period. It's biblical. It's scripture. I've seen it in everything in my life. I know that he will take care of people. Everything's not perfect, but everything's at peace. There's a difference, So the war in Ukraine is a byproduct of sin. It's a byproduct of sinners. It's a byproduct of, I'm not saying the people in Ukraine or the people in Russia. I'm saying we're all a part of this. Yeah, there's some really bad leaders that are doing really awful things to people, period. They are really, the stuff that's happening out of Russia, that's these war crimes. There's no excuse. Vladimir Putin is whatever he's doing. And again, I'm careful to speak on it too much because I don't sit and do a ton of research on politics.
Yeah,
I know I've read enough articles to know what's going on. But I'm not here to say presidents and leaders are this or that. What I'm here to say is we've all fallen short of the glory of God. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have wars. Yeah. So you can say it's Vladimir. You could say it's this, that. I don't even like mentioning leaders' names on this podcast because I don't want to get into the politics. Yeah. I pray for his heart, his soul. I pray for heart and soul of every leader in Ukraine and in Russia and in America and in Poland and in China. I pray that we'll all be able to submit and bow down to God because we'd have world peace. People say I want world peace. Well, there is an answer. Yeah. We just don't do it. Yep. So that's as deep as I get into it because honestly, it's about how much I'm invested. It's sad. My heart breaks when I've seen videos of certain things and read articles, Yeah. Matt from VB says, who's winning March Madness? Well, Miami.
Yeah.
Of course. We said that weeks ago.
Easy.
We picked that.
Easy. Yeah.
Throw down. And then he says boxers or briefs. And I would say to even ask that question is odd because nobody wears briefs. Like, come on, man. Who does that?
No, just kidding.
I'm playing, man.
Boxer briefs.
I'm playing.
Best of both worlds.
All right, let's talk about in the news real quick. This is obviously something that's a hot button topic and something just replaced the Nashville shooting that took place where there was 3 9-year-olds killed. An administrator, a substitute teacher, and a janitor. It was done by a former student who had mental struggles, used to go to that school, obviously had some frustration. It's coming out now that the principal of that school, the lady who was killed, was actually struggling with the shooter, had actually confronted her before she was shot and killed. And they said that based on the way that I guess the principal was found, that there was definitely distress there was definitely a struggle. This person was in distress prior to the shooting. There was some warning signs apparently and some texts that were sent. I'm not sick of talking about these things. My heart is broken about talking about these things. I mean, we're in Virginia Beach. We had a mass shooting here, and we were right in the middle of it at the time as a church, and it was probably the darkest weekend of my life. I just feel I have a couple of thoughts. My first is that we've got to get rid of these assault rifles. I don't care what anybody says. The shooting done here in Virginia Beach wasn't done with one. So I agree with all those people out there that say it's not the weapon, it's the person. I agree with you 100%.
No.
I agree with you 100%. But I looked at our Washington Post ran an article, and it was really the DNA of a shot after it comes out of an AR-15. And it took everything I had to not crumble watching this thing. And they had the bodies of two boys, a 6-year-old that was shot at Sandy Hook and a 15-year-old. That was at another school shooting. And they did a graphic based on where the bullets went into these young men. And it showed the catastrophe that follows the AR-15 bullet. Mm. And how the power of it can shoot in 1 second over 6 football fields. The velocity of that, when it hits you, and the amount of powder in a bullet, when it hits you, it can rupture organs that aren't near the shot, is how powerful it is.
Jeez.
And they said that surgeons, one from Johns Hopkins was saying, when you deal with a trauma patient that's been shot with an AR-15, literally, their body falls apart in your hands. That's what he described it as.
Jeez.
They say if you take the same shot to a chest from an AR as you do a 9mm, the AR, you don't stand a chance. You'll bleed out. But 9mm, you can survive it.
Yeah.
They say that there's actually a chance of survival. We all know that the problem is the weapons aren't the ones doing the crime. It's the people pulling the trigger. I cannot make that clear enough. All right? Mm-hmm. So for all you gun rights people, all the activists, the problem with some of the gun rights is that they're threatening. When you argue for gun rights and you threaten people, you're the problem. Like, well, I've never killed anybody. If you're arguing for gun rights and then you're threatening people because of it, you are the problem. Period. Mm. Period. Like, that has nothing to do with what's right and wrong. That's just, you can't tell me that, well, I'm responsible for this and that. Yeah, but you can't argue for something and be angry about it and expect me to respect you when it's something that lethal. I know I have family that owns ARs. And they're very responsible gun owners. They have tons of rifles and shotguns and ARs and handguns. They're responsible gun owners. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I lived half of my life in Western Maryland. I had a 4-wheeler and we had 18 acres. Like, I get it. Everybody owns weapons. And you go into those areas, these things are I get it. They're hot button topics. I get it. And I'm not saying that it's the people is the problem. I am not saying that. I'm not saying that. But how ludicrous would it be for us to start, people could buy a tank. You can go buy a tank.
Yeah.
You just can't shoot it. We say, well, that's stupid. It's not the tank, it's the person driving it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no end to that argument.
There's no end to the argument. And so I just couldn't watch this. It's very interesting. I just couldn't watch it. And when I got done reading the article and I saw the different graphics that they had with the AR bullets and what they were doing to people and how violent they are, at the end of the article in the Washington Post, it said, you've been on this page for 6 minutes and 56 seconds. It took approximately 8 minutes for the shooter to kill 26 people, including a pregnant woman, and injure 21 others at a Sutherland Springs, Texas church. Mm. I mean, it's just baffling the amount of damage one of these weapons can do. So I agree with people that say it's not the gun. I agree. I don't think that's the spirit. The problem here is a spiritual problem. The problem is the person.
Yeah.
And when I read about this Nashville shooting, it's a young lady who started to identify as a boy or a man, and it was transgender. And she or he, however they want to identify it, was mad to come back to the school to kill these people who apparently they didn't feel loved or protected, or they might, whatever, this person has a history of mental illness, according to some of the articles that I read. I don't want to speak too far into it I know they're just coming out with details, but I do want to say this. There is a march, apparently, or some activists and some different people that are planning on going to Capitol Hill or somewhere in D.C., kind of against the whole transgender thing. And I think this is part of the reason that we get to these places. It's like, do you guys not get the point? Let me speak very clearly to everybody listening. Society is the reason that this is happening. We are the problem. Should we have, do we need assault rifles? No. But that's not the problem. Can it be limited? Could those things be off the market? Sure, I agree. We don't need those. But the problem is society. Society's solution to people who are struggling with their identity and not finding purpose and not feeling loved and not feeling cared for and not feeling compassion or empathy or that anybody sees their pain. Society's answer is you be whatever you want and we'll call you that. It's not fixing the problem. Because now you have somebody who wants to be called a boy that was born a girl with a God-given identity, with a DNA and a particular purpose for something great. God had ingrained in that person's life, along with those 9-year-olds that were killed and the other people that were killed, the substitute, the janitor, and the principal. God has amazing purposes and plans and desires and DNAs for these people. And that quickly, all of it's eliminated. We all look at the shooter and we say, how could they? God looks at the shooter and everybody involved. In fact, whenever the shooting happened here in Virginia Beach, I was approached. We did a vigil, and the governor was there, and news stations from all over the world were there. And somebody came out to me as soon as the vigil was over, and the individual had just been with the shooter in the bathroom before it happened in Virginia Beach. And the individual came out to me and said, hey, you prayed for every victim and their family. During the vigil that we did, every family, the names of the victims had come out during the vigil that we were holding on that Saturday morning. And so during the vigil, we prayed for them by name. At the end of the vigil, somebody comes up to me and they were frustrated. They said, you mentioned everybody but the shooter. And I said, yeah, because today's about the people who didn't have a choice. Yeah. Not about the one who did. And I said, but let's go. And I went over apart with this individual and their family, and I prayed over the shooter by name because this guy was a friend. They saw each other in the bathroom right before the shooter went out and started killing people. Wow. Okay? So we see it as this shooter, this thing. This is the thing. Society has said our answer is be what you want, have what you want. We're not trying to help people find their identity, find their God-given calling, find their God-given purpose. We're telling our kids, just be good people. Being good people does not produce spiritual fruit that God has for our life. Being good people does not propel you to the things that God has for our life. This is the problem. Society's answers and all the things that are happening in the way that we think we can govern people. This is why we're in the position we're in, because people are hurting, they're broken, they're demon-possessed, they're morally incapable of finding solutions without the Word of God and without the Spirit of God. And we're saying we need to limit this, stop letting people have abortions, limit the ARs, all these things. And all we're doing is trying to make rules to fix a society that's broken and needs a spiritual healing. Yeah. They need a touch of God in their life, and He wants to do it, and He loves them. And when I look at this situation, I see 7 people that are dead because of brokenness and demonic. And we're sitting here trying to point at the world's wisdom baffles me at how ignorant it is. And who knows what happened to this young lady in that school to where she felt like she wasn't loved. Am I an excuse? Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. You're saying, well, maybe she felt loved the whole time. Maybe she did. I don't know. And maybe this school and these people took care of her and loved her and cared for her, and she got, pushed into, the demon pushed into this young lady. I don't know. So I'm not saying there's no excuse. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is we keep trying to solve gun problems. We keep trying to solve these shootings with government fix it. They can't. Yeah. This is a spiritual problem. Only God can fix when people surrender to Him. This is going to get worse. More people will die. This will get worse. Period. And the church will be held partial. The bride of Christ is beautiful in its splendor. It is imperfect people, but the bride is a pure thing. The bride does not have imperfection because it's the bride of Christ. The people have imperfection. But churches need to take notice. And we need to see how powerful unconditional love is, regardless of how somebody identifies, what they dress like, and what their opinions are. Yeah. That's what we need to take notice of. I put zero weight on anything that's happening in Nashville because I don't know that church. I don't know those people. I don't know what happened. I know that what happened to them was pure evil, and my heart is broken for them. I put zero responsibility on people when a gunman approaches them, period. It doesn't matter. No matter what you did to that person, that is their decision, period. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They could have, I don't know, they could have loved her to a place of health and she just kind of kept going AWOL. I don't know. We can say that about every shooter. We can say that about every person. A lot of these shooters they were bullied, they were made fun of, they didn't feel loved, they didn't feel supported. We can say that about everybody. All I'm saying is that we have a responsibility to love people unconditionally. And the church has to take notice. The church has to take notice. We are a part of the solution. We got to get this. We got to love unconditionally. It doesn't mean accept unconditionally. Accepting unconditionally, yes, when it comes to people, but like, let's hold each other accountable and be better, man. Let's lock into this. I mean, what are your thoughts?
True. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What resonates with me is, yeah, I mean, I think what people look to fix the problem, and it's never Jesus, it's never. And also too, like, just, I don't know, this resounding, like, when you follow Jesus, a lot of it is what you're willing to lay down, what you're willing to sacrifice, and give up. And I think a lot of times it's just as people, it's hard for us to surrender. And again, I'm not pointing any fingers because I'd be pointing them at myself too. But it's what are you willing to sacrifice for for your kids or someone else's kids, or goodness, because it caused a lot of conversations in my home, and this happened. And
well, there's body cam footage that was released from Nashville police, and everybody's praising them for how they went in there and they just took care of it, and they're comparing it to other shootings, and it doesn't help people come back that have been killed other places. It just probably makes the pain even worse. Like, well, it validates for parents, these people didn't do for my kid what they should have, so now my kids are dead. Like, nothing good is coming from any of this. You know what I mean? It is because good will come if we lean into the things that God has in the long run. We can get good out of dark situations. That's a biblical concept that it reigns true. But the body cam footage released of them neutralizing the shooter, it's pretty graphic, and it's hard to watch because you just see evil. Yeah. And you just know that this was never God's plan, man. It's tough to watch. But it's here, and we got to face it. We got to take notice, and we got to start loving people in a different way, man. We've got to start loving people no matter what they are, and help them find what God has for their life. Help them, lead them, disciple people, walk them in the right way. It's hard for me to swallow because that girl who shot them was in that school. She was a part of that place and went back and killed them. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so hard for me to swallow this. Yeah. I read another article. It was talking about a teenage experience that was cherished for a generation is disappearing, and like, what are we really losing? And the author was talking about how when she was in high school, she used to get picked up by her friends and just go all day. They'd go do different things all around the place, and you get picked up by your friends, you just hang out all day, and you come home at night. And she was saying now she's seeing with her kids that they're on their phone all the time. There's a little more social isolation. They go at home, they play video games against their friends online. And she was like, what are we really like? Are we missing something? Because kids are spending time on phones and in isolation, but teen mental health it's deepening the issue, and they spend less time hanging out, but they spend more times connected. They're online, social media, texting, playing video games. But most kids, that's kind of the starting point is, these kids are more and more in isolation, right? They're more and more to themselves, but they're more connected than ever, but they're seeing less. You don't see friends just pick up kids and they go all day. They're connected on their phones, or they're connected on social. They go to the movie together, but it's different. My oldest is only 12. So, I mean, it ain't like that. He goes outside and hangs with his friends all the time. Yeah. They shoot YouTube videos together, but they're together, and he'll come in, everybody will go in. It's a beautiful day and everybody comes in. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, can I play video games? They're all getting online to play together. And that's the difference. Yeah. So really it's like, right now, most kids are over anxious and over scheduled. That's fair. Mm-hmm. They got too much going on, and they're just anxious. And a lot of kids, they don't know how to have conversations with you. If you notice, you'll have kids, you talk to them, they can't talk to you sometimes. Mm-hmm. They just don't know how to communicate because media does it for them. They don't ever have to have those conversations. So really the question is this generation living a better life than we did? Now, we know that oh, no way. And our grandparents would say the same about us, and their grandparents would say the same about them. But I think online we can mute ourselves if we don't want people to see us or hear us. We can not post it or not reply to it or not like it or just push mute on the headset. Yeah. But we can't do that in real life. So I don't know, man. What do you think? Our kids, is this generation, are they living it better than we did? I mean, is it different? Is it a downfall?
I don't know. I think it's different. I just think it's different. I think every generation is it has its ups and it has its downs, and I think like time will tell. I mean, we were kind of talking about this a little bit today too, with kind of shout out to Desert Rose and stuff. Had a meeting with them, but like the power of social media, there's a power to it that you can't deny. Like the social connection, absolutely, you can't deny it. But like any tool, it can be abused. Yeah. And so I think this generation growing up, my kids, your kids, they're going to really learn, and they're probably going to learn by pushing it to its abusive limits, probably.
Well, I think
we're there. Have to snap back from it.
I mean, we're there. I just read an article on a girl who's in college that she said she was heavy into social until she was 12, or when she was 12. And I'm like, how old is she? And I'm like, oh man, like it's been around. Like this is the first generation that hasn't had. They don't know what it's like to not have an iPad. In their hand, I remember back in the day, I'd rent video games and it like triple play back in the day, the baseball game. You remember that game?
Oh, yeah.
And I'd have to go and fix all the rosters because everything was saved on the games. Where now it's saved on the consoles.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that. I had to go through and fix them because I was a baseball nut, so I knew where everybody was supposed to play, what teams they were on. So I had to go through and fix everything. Where now all the rosters are automatically updated. You can go play all your friends online. Like I love technology. I think it's great. I love being connected to people. I like seeing what people are doing. I like seeing different parts of the world with just picking up my phone. I think it's cool. But I do think that there's, and honestly, maybe it wasn't always the best thing for us to go hang out with our friends all day. Maybe it wasn't the best learning lesson. I mean, Woodstock did happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Woodstock, they say it was peaceful. They say it was the most peaceful thing. Yeah. Well, I wasn't there, but it did happen. I don't know. Well, hey, listen, there was I stumbled across the movie that's coming out. We had talked last week a little bit on what's the movie you're looking forward to. Yeah. I have a movie in 2024, November 2024 that's coming out that I can tell you I will be anxiously awaiting. I know that we're all going here next week to go see Super Mario. With our kids.
I'm pumped.
So we talked about this yesterday, and a bunch of the guys were like, yeah, we're going to go see Super Mario. And these were grown men talking about this. So me and my wife go to lunch, and on the TV, there came this the trailer for Super Mario. And I looked at her and I said, grown men were wanting to see this. She's like, you'll understand when you see it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna see it with our kids, and so it's coming out. But a movie's coming out in November 2024. Y'all ready for this?
I don't know.
I don't think y'all are ready. There's not a person who likes movies that will not like this. I will say it. There's not a person who likes. Every person who likes movies at some point appreciates the movie that I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
You want to take a guess?
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to take a guess.
Gladiator 2.
Oh, snap!
Gladiator 2.
Okay,
is coming in November 24th, and the rumor is they already have some cast, but the rumor is they're trying to get Denzel on the Denzel Washington to be part of it. Yeah. Okay. So the whole movie is the focus will be on Lucius, the son of Lucia. Is it Lucia? How you say her name?
Sure. Yeah. I
and the nephew of is it Commodus? Commodus.
Sitting on the Commodus.
Is it Commodus?
I don't
remember the names.
Look it back
but
up,
you guys, I don't know how y'all know the slang, but like growing up, man, everybody's like, man, you got to use the commode. It was talking about a toilet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Commodus. It just hit me weird. It got me. It got me.
Goodness.
But yeah, so the focus will be on the nephew who was there whenever he kind of, remember he kind of leaned into Gladiator and he like liked him.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like a hero.
Yeah.
And his uncle got mad. And so I don't think that was even in the thought when they wrote that script, but the thought of that being that's gonna be pretty legit.
I know. I mean, Ridley Scott. I love Ridley Scott.
It's gonna be a good movie.
The cinematography. Yeah.
If they can do what Top Gun 2 did with Top Gun, Gladiator 2 will be just as good as Gladiator. Now that's a huge statement.
Yeah.
Because Russell Crowe, probably one of the best movies. I think his acting in that movie was unreal.
Yeah.
Just unreal. I mean, he makes that movie.
For sure.
So to say that Gladiator 2 be as good as Gladiator, it's hard to compare that. But Top Gun to Top Gun Maverick, I mean, to me, they're just as good. I might even like the second one a little bit more.
Yeah, I got to go
Not
watch
more.
it.
Just
I got to watch it. That'll be homework for me.
You got to go watch it.
I know. I really
make it
do.
happen.
I told my wife. I was like, I'm ashamed of myself.
Dude, you're as much of a movie buff as you are.
I know. I'm ashamed.
I'm amazed. I'm sitting here amazed.
It's just one of those ones.
This is like me telling you I didn't watch a single football game last year.
I know. It slipped through the crack. I don't know how it happened.
It doesn't happen like that. That's intentional.
Sorry.
You should eat your cookies.
Yeah, I'll shut up now.
Hey. All right, I got a final thought.
All right.
Here's my final thought.
So as we have been discussing lately, there's been there's been some attacks by animals. And recently, I was informed of a mountain lion that attacked a couple in a hot tub.
Oh, gosh.
On vacation in Colorado.
No.
While they were in the hot tub.
Oh, goodness.
So the man and his wife was sitting in the hot tub, and he feels something slap him in the head. It was a mountain lion.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So he felt it grab his head. They screamed and splashed water at it. What are you going to do? And then the wife shined a flashlight in its face, and it ran up on the hill and crouched down and was staring at him. And then they went inside. They called the property owner. They called, I guess, the people who do the wildlife. He crouched, but this thing crouched down to watch them. This is the 24th known attack of a mountain lion causing injury to a human in Colorado since 1990. Jeez. So you're talking about 123 years. It's just not your lucky day when you're in a hot tub with your wife on vacation and something grabs your head and it's not your wife.
The most
put yourself in that position.
The most relaxing place you can talk about the different worlds you just experienced in a couple seconds of I'm so relaxed in a hot tub with my wife to getting smacked in the head.
Well, were you wearing swimming trunks?
I hope so.
and I'm just saying, like, they said they couldn't track him because you're on vacation in Colorado.
Yeah.
You're in a hot tub. You're wearing swimming trunks. You're wearing a full ski suit. I mean, what are you in there in? And they said that they couldn't track anything because the ground was frozen. It was, everything snowed up. And so I'm just saying, from where I sit, talk about extremely, 0 to 100 in a second.
Real quick.
But this is what I want to help y'all with. So we've talked about bear attacks, mountain lion attacks. So what should I do if I'm in that position? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's called SMART. It's an acronym. Everybody say it with me. SMART. SMART. What does S stand for? Stop! Don't run. It's your first thing. If you can conquer this one, which most of you will not. If I see a mountain lion, I'm not going to remember SMART. I'm not going to remember the S. Don't run, probably not. I probably take off, right?
I'm fighting all day.
Well,
I've already told you. Yeah, I know.
Y'all have no idea how big this man is. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
Large man. He could beat up a mountain lion. He could make a mountain lion his pet. All right. The rest of us, we would be a snap.
I've always said I've wanted to experience my limits. And so I've just never been given that opportunity. I feel like a mountain lion would be a pretty good start.
I hope you're never given that opportunity with me around.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not because I'm in his mouth. SMART. Stop. Don't run. All right. That's S. M. Make yourself look big.
Yeah. That's easy.
You just look at him.
Yep.
Do something. Mm-hmm. A. Announce your presence in an authoritative voice. Mm-hmm. I am Brandon Shank.
Announce your presence.
Yeah, that's what it says. Hey, these people know what they're doing. They didn't write an acronym for nothing. They did it because these are professionals, right?
They're smart.
They're smart. R. Retreat by backing away slowly.
No, I'm fighting.
You don't move it first.
I'm fighting.
Then you make yourself look big, announce your presence, back away slowly. And then T. Tell an adult, if you're a kid, or wildlife officials about the encounter. Yeah. If you lived, they didn't have this part, but if you lived to tell about it. That's what I'm going to add.
I'm putting that mountain lion in a headlock. That's what's happening. I'm telling you.
SMART. Stop. Make yourself look big. Announce your presence. Retreat and tell somebody. If you live to tell about it. Let me pray for you. Lord, I love you. We thank you. I pray that you will be with us. God, provide comfort to this nation and to these people and to this world. Help us to lean on you. I pray that those listening that don't know you will find you because they know that you've been right there the whole time. We love you. We're grateful for you. Thank you for your peace, your presence, your love, and your care that goes way beyond anything we can think, ask, or imagine. Everybody say it. Amen. Hey, we love you guys. Thank you for being a part of today's incredible episode of the Brandon Shank Podcast. We'll see you soon.